Hello, true believers, and this is bebotsonly, and what we have over here is a crisis. We have Hero, which developed a very huge blister last night, and today, as you could see, it's pretty extensive. It's pretty much, as you can see, it takes up the whole ball of his feet over there. It's like this whole thing over here. He's got some callus over here. I don't know if it gets into the callus, but as you can see, it's pretty big and it's pretty deep, and he's in a lot of pain from it. These things usually take about 5 to 7 days to heal. In the meantime, what are we gonna do about it? Normally, if it's not torn, it's just a blister, we just gotta leave it alone, and about after a week it will stick back by itself, or this stuff, because it takes about a month for the epidermis layer to replace itself, or 2 months, a month or 2 months, I forget. Anyway, as you can see, we've got this problem, and it's kind of partially torn. Usually you could de-roof this, but then this kind of forms a protective layer. But what about this layer over here? It's kind of all red and kind of angry. So he's not gonna, because of this, he's not gonna have any football for a while. And it's actually on both feet, and then there's some over here on his big toe also. I had some tape. The reason why this happened is because, of course, there's this friction and shearing forces inside his shoes, and the activity that you do, it happens a lot with people who are like doing a lot of hiking and running. There's really not much you could do about it. I mean, there's some things you could do about it. His shoe is leather, so what happens with leather is after a while they'll get, in the beginning they're kind of tight, and then they'll kind of get loose towards the middle of the end of your activity. And what happened was, after almost a year of not playing any football during the pandemic, yesterday they had like a mini scrimmage, and it went on for a while. And in the beginning he had no problem, but towards the end he developed these blisters. So I think because the leather shoe that he was wearing kind of stretched during all that cutting and stopping and changing direction, and it just took its toll on his skin over here, as you can see. So what we're going to do in the future is I'm going to tighten his shoe again, like if he starts, and then I'll just tighten, number one, tighten it again, and number two, probably add tape to prevent. And there's this Luco type tape that people use, like this over here. So that's available here in the Philippines. But what I normally use over here, and I'm going to try this one tape, is I actually have this. It's kind of quite old, but I don't think it has an expiration date. I don't think anyway. Is Mepiform. Now it's a silicone-based dressing, and it's used by doctors and surgeons, especially for after surgery, if they've done surgery, or for burn wounds, or for any kind of wound care where it's going to be touching the skin. What's nice about the silicone is it'll stick, but it doesn't stick to the skin. Let me show you an example. Over here, I've got a sample over here of the Mepiform. So it's always handy to have these around the house. So like I said, this has been used a lot. People use this for pressure ulcers. They develop like in the sacral area and the heel. So these are good for not only for prevention but for healing also. So like I said, what's so good about these is they don't stick to the wound, and they provide like a second skin, and it almost looks like a second skin also. So that's what's really nice. So for these kind of wounds like blisters, so we're just gonna leave the part that was torn off, just and then this part right here. You could also use, some people, but this is kind of too big, is super glue to have been used on this, but I think it's too big to be using super glue because look at the extent. So we're going to be using is this Mepiform over here. These are great also for treating or preventing keloids or hypertrophic scars, but your results might vary. I mean, it doesn't mean it's, there's been studies that show that silicone dressings help prevent, but like I said, your mileage may vary. Let's see the other side, the other foot. So over here also, it's nice and red, and as you can see, it's pretty big. So it's my fault. We normally have kind of tape around these things to prevent blisters, but it's been a year since he actually did any scrimmage. So usually he didn't have any problems with it anymore, and I didn't realize that after taking a break for a year, as you can see, that the skin around it has become soft, and then it doesn't have the hardening of regular scrimmaging like on a weekly basis anymore, and this is what happened. So no big deal. We're just gonna take a break from this type of exercise for now and let this thing heal for like I said, hopefully it's pretty deep, so it'll probably take 7 days, but we'll rest it for the next 3 days, and we'll put this Mepiform silicone dressing on it to keep it comfortable. Okay, so that's how you usually treat, but to prevent blisters, like I said, make sure you wear comfortable shoes, socks with grip on it, like the Nike grip that we have. He wasn't wearing the Nike grip, I don't think, at that time. And then also where you can put the Leukotape on it to prevent this kind of shearing, kind of friction motion. And if it does form, or make sure that the shoes are locked on tight. But if you do get it, then the best thing to do is just let it heal and rest, and put a silicone dressing on it like Mepiform for the next 5 to 7 days. What's nice about these is these last 5 to 7 days, so you can take it on and off. So the best thing to do is put this on and then put kind of more, kind of sticks to it pretty good. But if it needs more tape for it to stick on, because it's like at the bottom of a foot, then we can put more tape around it to keep it in place. But that's what we're up to today, doing a little first aid for Hero over here on his blister, letting it rest for the next 5 to 7 days. No running or playing football from him. I know that's going to be upsetting, but we have to let this thing heal. It's too painful for him to even walk at this point, because he's got it on both feet, and he's got a little bit over here, not as much. All right, so that's how you prevent and treat blisters here in the Philippines. This one, I didn't get hit here. I had it in stock. You never know when I'm gonna need it. But like I said, this is used by surgeons for after they have surgery and they apply it on their surgical sites, especially where their sutures are, so to prevent hyperkeloids or keloiding or hyper scarring. And it's also been used for pressure sores, burns, and what else have I used it on? I've used it on burns. I've used it on pressure sores. I've definitely used it on all surgery as a preventive measure. Anything from bone surgery to tumor surgery to all kinds of surgery. You know, once you close up the skin, you put this thing on, and you just have them put it on for the next until it heals. It usually takes about like a month for it to heal, so a month's worth of 4 of these to put on it to prevent healing, as a preventative. So Mepiform, hold on, let me see, I got a package over here. Here it is, Mepiform. Great stuff. Keep it handy for those kind of situations. And in this situation, we're using it for Hero's blister. You could put some antibiotic ointment on it, but I don't think infection is our problem right now. It's not like a wound that's kind of open. It's just kind of sensitive and sore. So I don't think we'll be needing. We just need something to put on top of it to promote healing, and that's where Mepiform comes in. Okay, so that's what we're up to this evening. So I'll probably upload this morning in the morning to let everybody know how to prevent and treat blisters using Mepiform. Here, where is it? Here's a sample. I also have regular sheets of silicone. So I have like the silicone over here that I could use. Just not Mepiform. I don't know what the name of this thing is, but I have it handy. So here's like a silicone gel sheet. Like I said, it's so used for so many things that it's always good to have a stock of this kind of dressing around. You never know when you're going to need it. And today we're going to need, or this evening we're using it for Hero's blister. And so if you have any questions or you have any other alternatives for treating blisters or preventing blisters, let us know in the comments. This has been Vendetta Football. You've been watching Vendetta.